The United States has shot down the Chinese balloon that had been hovering over the country. President Biden confirmed the military action about an hour ago. Let's bring in Victor Cha. Victor Cha is an NBC News Korean Affairs analyst and a former director for Asian Affairs at the National Security Council. Thank you so much for being with us, Victor. This is just really all happening at a very, I would argue, inopportune time for U.S.-Chinese relations. What is your read of this? And particularly if you could respond to this thread of the United States today, officials, from military officials to U.S. government officials, talking about the violation of U.S. sovereignty by the Chinese government with this balloon.
Yeah, so a couple of things. The first is that, yes, this is a direct violation of U.S. airspace, U.S. sovereignty. While China has been doing a number of things in the East Asian region with regard to the territorial space or disputed territorial airspace and sea of other countries, this is the most direct violation of the United States. And the U.S. action to take down this balloon is sort of the first real kinetic act against a Chinese asset, in this rising U.S.-China competition. So there's a lot of symbolism associated with this, given the competition between the United States and China.
A lot of symbolism. I'm wondering your thoughts about the cancellation of Secretary Blinken's trip to meet with President Xi Jinping in China. Do you think that we will see Secretary Blinken make an overture again sometime soon, or will other U.S. officials, notably maybe the National Security Advisor to the president, be making a trip instead to send a message?
Oh, I think I think Secretary Blinken will go now that they've shot this thing down, and will collect intelligence on it, and will explain everything that China was trying to do with it. I mean, I think he'll go. I mean, it's an important trip because the U.S.-China relationship is escalating. It's becoming extremely tense. Biden and the Chinese leader met in Indonesia in November to try to put guardrails on the relationship. And Blinken's trip was the first since Mike Pompeo went in 2018 to try to, implement this idea of putting guardrails on the relationship. So China needed this visit actually quite badly. And this balloon situation just was extremely embarrassing for them. Blinken couldn't go, but now he can go, and I think he will give the démarche on this intelligence balloon, but then focus on the issues that matter to the United States, like defense of Taiwan, human rights, export controls on semiconductors and other commanding heights technology against the Chinese.
You noted that this balloon situation was an embarrassment. I think lots of folks use that term this week. Also, what happened this week, their global infrastructure efforts. There's a Wall Street Journal story talking about the headline is China's global mega projects are falling apart. This seems like just a terrible PR week for the Chinese government, but also there are real international implications for their relationships. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's a good point. I mean, we often see China's standing 100 feet tall, but in the last few months, major setbacks for President Xi Jinping. First, the COVID lockdown completely failed after people protested, and they just rapidly reversed the policy and now have huge cases of COVID inside the country without the right vaccine infrastructure. They're having an economic slowdown. The mega projects are referring to these things called the Belt and Road Initiative, where these massive capital financial projects, infrastructure projects that China offered to do in the global south that are all sort of falling apart now. And then on top of that, to have this balloon situation happen just when, arguably the two most important countries in the world were going to meet, is, again, hugely embarrassing for the Chinese. So the Chinese don't stand 100 feet tall and not nearly that tall, and they're clearly having problems.
Mr. Cha, I think that there are some people watching right now who would say, okay, they shot the balloon down, got it, competition, not conflict, all right. But why should everyday Americans who don't do foreign policy right, who aren't keyed in on this issue on a regular basis, why should they care about this particular, the relations between China and the United States?
Well, I mean, in terms of the balloon, it shows the sort of massive intelligence gathering campaign that China executes against the United States, and this is just one small part of it. This is a balloon, but they have surveillance satellites that are over the United States 24/7 trying to collect information. I mean, that's the nature of competition between two great powers in the international system. So I guess we expect to see some of that. But the other aspect is that China engages in massive disinformation around the world. They will tell the rest of the world that this was a defenseless weather balloon that the United States made a big deal out of, even though it's a spy balloon. And they're doing the same thing in Ukraine, saying that the war is all the fault of the United States and NATO. So, I mean, if anything, it should awake Americans to the fact that there is this massive effort by the Chinese against the U.S.
Victor Cha, thank you so much. We love the experts who can break it down for us. Appreciate your time.